Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something that's quietly running your entire digital life: cloud security. Seriously, if you use a smartphone, stream movies, or do pretty much anything online, this is for you. So let me just ask you this. Do you know where your photos, your emails, or your work files physically are right this second? Chances are the answer is, somewhere in the cloud. And that mysterious somewhere is exactly what we need to talk about protecting. All right, so let's get on the same page. When we say cloud security, what are we really talking about? Let's break it down. Think of it like this. Cloud security is the digital lock, the alarm system, and the 24/7 security guard for all your stuff online. At the end of the day, it's just the whole bundle of rules, tech, and practices that keep your digital life from getting stolen, leaked, or messed with. And this is why it is so incredibly important. It's about protecting our most sensitive info, from our private photos to a company's entire financial history. It's also about keeping businesses up and running, so your favorite streaming service doesn't just crash in the middle of a finale. And it's about the big deal legal stuff, like HIPAA protecting patient data, or GDPR protecting our privacy rights. It's not just a tech issue, it's a real-world one. Now, to really get a handle on the defenses, we've got to meet the villains of the story first. What are the dangers that are actually lurking out there in the cloud? Generally, you're looking at four major categories of trouble. You've got data breaches, where someone steals information; account hijacking, where they literally take over your login; insider threats, which, come from people you're supposed to trust; and DDoS attacks, which are all about knocking a service offline. They're all pretty nasty. But let's zoom in on one that's super personal. These things are almost never just a single event. They're more like a chain reaction. It usually kicks off with a tricky phishing email designed to snatch your password. That whole process gets a lot easier if you're using a weak password. Come on, we all know a password 123 user. And the final piece is often social engineering, just tricking a person into handing over the keys. It's really the perfect storm of exploiting both our tech and our human nature. So with all these threats flying around, a huge question pops up. Who's actually on the hook for security? Is it the massive company providing the cloud service like an Amazon or a Google, or is it you? Well, the answer? It's a little complicated. This brings us to a really important idea called the shared responsibility model. The best way to get it is to think about renting an apartment. Your cloud provider is the landlord. They're responsible for securing the actual building, the foundation, the walls, the main entrance. That's security of the cloud. But you, the tenant, you're responsible for locking your own front door and securing everything inside. That's your data, your apps, and who you give a key to. That part is security in the cloud. See, you both have a really critical job to do. Okay, so now that we know we've got a major role to play here, let's actually build our playbook. What are the most critical, must-do things to keep yourself safe?
Job number one, without a single doubt, is controlling access. It all boils down to this: who gets in, and what are they allowed to do once they're inside?
And we've got four really powerful tools in our toolbox here. First, this idea of least privilege. It's a fancy way of saying only give people the exact permissions they need to do their job and nothing more. Second, you have to use multi-factor authentication, or MFA. That's that second code you get on your phone. It's a game changer. Third, use roles to manage who gets to do what. It's way easier than managing people one by one. And finally, check those permissions regularly and get rid of old ones. They're just security backdoors waiting to happen.
All right, next up, encryption. The goal here is actually pretty simple. If someone does manage to get their hands on your data, you want to make sure all they have is a useless pile of unreadable gibberish.
So we need to protect our data in two key states. Data at rest is data that's just sitting on a hard drive somewhere. Encrypting that protects you if someone literally walks out with the hardware. Then there's data in transit, which is your data zipping across the internet. Encrypting that protects it from anyone trying to eavesdrop on your connection. And you absolutely, positively need to do both. No exceptions. And the third key in our playbook is all about visibility. Because you can't protect what you can't see, right? This is where logging and monitoring are absolutely essential. Think of this as your digital security camera system. It's your eyes and ears. It records who does what and when they do it. So if something weird happens, like a login from a country you've never been to, you'll see it right away and you can jump on it. Without logs, you're just flying completely blind.
Okay, so for our last section, let's look ahead a bit. Because in the world of security, the one thing you can count on is that things are always changing. The attackers get smarter, so the defenses have to get way smarter, way faster.
And there are 4 big trends shaping that future. You've got AI and machine learning being used to actually predict and stop attacks before they even launch. We're seeing new security challenges with serverless computing. And there are these new tools for cloud security posture management, or CSPM, that constantly scan for mistakes. But honestly, the biggest trend of all is a total shift in philosophy, and it's called zero trust.
See, the old way of thinking was trust, but verify. You'd have a strong wall around your network, and you'd basically trust everyone inside. The future is zero trust. It starts with the assumption that no one, not inside your network, not outside, is safe. It demands that every single request for access gets strictly verified, every single time. And that leaves us with a pretty wild thought. In our hyper-connected world, maybe the only safe path forward is to trust nothing and verify everything.